situation where, particularly with prosecution, because that can be political sometimes, that someone puts pressure on him not to prosecute a certain case when the facts say to the public it has to be done. And that pressure could, if asked to do something that he deemed to be unethical in that regard, he would have to decline, and feels the best solution is resignation at that point to avert any more situation with that. And that's what he's asking.
I guess I'm okay with that translation once it's laid out that way.
The reason we can't have the same language with Terry Tickle's contract as we do with the prosecutor's contract?
Well, that's sort of what
We got one sentence for termination. City may terminate the agreement any time providing firm with not less than 30 days notice. And
he came
we
back.
have a complicated bond contract. This is more complicated.
And I think if we, not pointing fingers, I'm just saying, because of what happened to him at the end of June, or whatever date it was, June 26th, he saw something different happen to him, so he immediately thought, perhaps I need some protection here if that's going to happen, where I would not get paid for services that I was thinking I was going to render up to a certain date. That was his point. And he doesn't do it vindictively, he's just saying it's a matter of business, trying to do a business thing.
Did we, when we sent out requests, or we didn't actually send out any requests for proposal?
No.
I would move that we lay the contract over for prosecution legal services and send out a request for proposal to see what we can find out there, that's somebody that wants to do business with us.
Motion, Mr. Bunky, we got a second?
Who's getting somebody else besides Mr. Springer?
Yep.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Do we have a second? Motion dies for lack of second. Where do we go from here?
We either approve it or we don't. Is it paragraph 7 that is the problem? If we just lay this one over to the next meeting as well? Get clarification? Got your clarification. Is it paragraph 7 that's causing you the problem? I think so.
I guess that the language that, or the insinuation that I read, and the fact that I really think that there ought to be sections or paragraphs 8C through 8F included in Mr. Springer's, the same as there is in Mr. Chigler's. That contract seemed to make sense to me. And is the 135 the same rate that he was charging before, or is that a higher rate?
That's the rate that he quoted in his offer of continuation. Kathy, do you know what we're paying currently?
It was $100 an hour for everything back in the
Very beginning. But that was raised to 125.
It was the letter when he asked for a request for proposal proposals. He was going to, he stated 135, and he would continue to do work for the city until he did RFPs at 135. Then he didn't do an RFP. And so, yeah, he quoted the 135 before. And we could certainly put C through F.
But that doesn't really
Yeah.
pertain, this is
Prosecutorial
prosecutorial
duties.
versus civil, there's
Different.
change.
I think the argument was made by Mr. Springer in his look at it was that bills didn't pertain and would not be appropriate. And at first, we offered the same menu, trying to keep everything exactly the same. And, you know, these guys are the attorneys, so they write back and tell you what they'd like to see and what they think is appropriate.
In prosecution, the city wouldn't own files.
I do know that Gary talked to Sam, and Sam would like to keep Springer on as president.
And it's very cost effective. It's right there across the street. Yeah.
What's the council's pleasure then? Do we put up for quotes or do we approve the contract?
Guess I'm happy with his answer. I would move that we approve the contract.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Hansi, second by Mr. Robertson. Any further comment? Mr. Bucky?
I'm thinking something.
Question.
All in favor of the contract, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nate,
Nay. So motion passes 3-2 with Bunky and
Are you abstaining? No, I voted.
you voted for it.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear you, sorry.
Motion passes with Mr. Bunky and Mr. Holland voting no.